Hello. I'm going to try to explain what I'm hoping to do in this class that I might want to teach with Mike in Urban Sketchers. I'm thinking he might teach drawing something using a pen and line, and I'm going to teach this how to draw with a pen using value. And both are good, but both are very different. So what I'm doing is I'm actually drawing from life, but I'm drawing a car. Now I don't have a car sitting on my desk. I have a little tiny model of a car, and I'm drawing it first using and it's sort of hard because I normally don't draw this, so I'm trying to draw it in a manner that someone might draw the car if they were drawing using line to describe the elements of the car. So this is a car from the 30s, and it's actually a truck. I'll just draw the big parts of it. So window, front window, has a top on it like that, and it's a delivery truck for Waterman Inc. So there's a wheel, and the front fender has broken off, but there would have been a front fender with headlights, but that's missing. And there's a wheel. I'm clearly not drawing it very well, and it's resting on this big eraser. So let's pretend this is a real car that I'm drawing out in the real world. And you have the word Waterman here on the side, and you have a pen drawn on the side, and you have a little bottle of Waterman ink that's painted on the door of the thing. And then you have the running board here, and then you've got the vents for the hood here that have little latches on them like that. You have a radiator cap, and then you have the seam of the hood here, and then you've got lots of little spokes that come out of the wheels. The wheels are white, and the car is yellow. There's a spare tire on the side here. There's a spare tire on the side there. So if you were drawing this using line, whether you're drawing a car or a building or someone having a cup of coffee at the restaurant and you're drawing a line, what you're doing is with a line, you are essentially drawing the edges of all of the elements that make up the thing you're drawing. And when you're done with the drawing, you might have something that looks like this, except of course it would be drawn better. Now, and then sometimes I'll see buildings that are drawn this way, and the buildings, I say, well, that's a beautiful drawing of the building, whatever the building is, but I have no idea what color the building is, because, is this a white truck? Is this a black truck? Is this what color is this truck? We have no idea. So that's the thing that you're missing if you draw with simply line. You're getting the parts, you're getting beautiful textures, you're getting details of various parts, but what you lack is a value element. So drawing the same thing, if I were to draw it with cross-hatching, I may draw the same thing as I did here very lightly, so I sort of know what I'm drawing, where the parts are going to be. So I'm very quickly drawing that now. And again, I'm drawing a toy rather than a real van, but This way I don't have to put on shoes and go find a van from 1938 and draw it, or draw any sort of thing. So here I'm just, now this stuff I normally, if I was actually doing a pen and ink drawing, I would maybe draw this all in pencil so I get all of the proportions correct. But now I'm going to go in and I'm going to draw the value. Now often what one ends up doing is sometimes these lines that I just drew don't really exist. They are implied by changes of value from light to dark, but there is no real line there. You draw it over here to sort of show this is the light part, this is the dark part, but in reality there is no real line there. It's just light and dark. And not that you know this by this drawing, but this drawing, the van is yellow, bright taxi cab yellow, and it has this top that is a black top, which I'm drawing darker here. The whole side of the car, the toy, is darker than the top of the toy, and the fenders are black as well. So, but there's reflections on the fenders, and the reflection you see right here, and then it's dark, and the wheel is, of course, dark rubber, but it also is a white wall. So there's white here, and then there's spokes. But rather than drawing the spokes, what I'm actually drawing, because the spokes are sparkly, they're light, I'm drawing the areas between the spokes. So you sort of have to think differently than when you were drawing a line drawing. You're drawing value, you're drawing lights and darks. Now the radiator is metal, and so parts of it are bright light, white, reflective, and parts of it are almost black because it's reflecting the black. So this part of the radiator is black. This part is sort of, many different, it's a grill, like a waffle iron, so you don't really see it. And then we've got this big black thing there, fender there, and then another black tire. And it does, the car still has these little vents, but the vents, the value difference between the vents, this is the thing that you're missing in this illustration. You can do it here because you can easily delineate the parts that make up the car. Here, if I'm drawing in value, it's a little harder to specify those things because they're more they exist more as shadows and light than, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. You know what I mean if I can't explain it. And then the inside of the car, is dark. So you see that little dark thing there. Then this entire side is dark. I'm not going to bother drawing it in. And then there's a sign. The same sign is there. And then the same bottle is here. So in the end of the day, you have two ways of rendering this little toy, or the real thing, or the real building, or the entire cityscape. One of them is very descriptive of the elements that make up the object. And if this was a building, we'd have doors and windows and shingles and siding and trees and leaves on trees and all of the parts. And here you have an amassment of value, of color, of shade and shadow. And both of these are great ways at rendering the object. and both of them portray elements. None of them contains all of the information that you get by looking at it with your eyes. None of these, neither one of these drawings shows you that it's a yellow car. Then we need watercolor or color pencils for that. But here on this one of the things you see is the suggestion of a light source. You don't see that on this one. You see here you don't have a sense of the fact that this is a yellow car and black fenders. And in a building, I once had to do a redraw a building for someone, and they showed me this building that they already had, and it was, with columns and buildings and siding and everything on it. And the image they had, there was no way that you could tell that it was a brick building. It was a red brick building with white trim and black dark windows, but everything was drawn the same. I could tell that it had so many windows in it, and each window had so many panes in it, and that there was a ionic column, but there was nothing in the image that they were presently had that showed me that it was a brick building. I didn't see that. And in the drawing that I created for them, where I used hatching, you still couldn't tell that it was brick because they didn't draw individual bricks. What I did was I drew the value of the house. There was black shingles, and there was hatching representing the red brickwork, and then there was white representing the white paint. But that was descriptive where this one wasn't, in certain ways. In this one, however, as in this drawing, there are certain things you really do see. You see these vents in this. You probably could count the number of spokes that are in a wheel. Here you might not get that information. So each of these has value. And I think by having a class where half the students, we divide the students into two groups, and one of them draws a building or a city or whatever using line work, and the other group draws the same thing using hatching, would be interesting. And then to switch the groups at the end of an hour, the second hour, this group goes and draws using just line rather than hatching, and then vice versa. And I think at the end of the day, you might have students that want to throw away their pens and never touch them again, or you might have someone being able to say, gee, this is really great. I tend to draw this way most of the time, but when I do draw this way, it's really fun. It's just not how I normally think when I'm rendering something. Anyway, that's the plan. Thank you. Toodaloo.